This video found you for a reason. What I'm about to expose has been banned, erased, and hidden for centuries, because it gives you control over what happens after you die. This isn't speculation. This is documented, forbidden knowledge, and once you hear it, you can't unlearn it. Ignore this, and you risk eternal entrapment. For the first time, the most dangerous book in history reveals what happens between lives, the trials you'll face, the forces that pull you back, and the one decision that will seal your fate: ascend, reincarnate, or disappear into the void. Most won't be ready. Will you? For centuries, a classified blueprint of the afterlife has been fiercely protected, locked away by religious leaders, secret societies, and those who understood its incredible power. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and the banned Book of Enoch reveal the same secret: a hidden process that takes place the moment you die. These texts weren't written for the masses. They were reserved for the elite, the rulers, the initiated. Why? Because if you understand what's inside, you can control what happens next, permanently. Here's what they describe: a blinding light that terrifies most souls into retreat, a trial where every thought and action is exposed and judged, a final, irreversible decision: ascend, reincarnate, or be trapped in the abyss. And here's the most chilling truth: this process is already happening. Right now, every decision, every attachment is setting the course for your fate. These books aren't just about death. They're instruction manuals for controlling what happens after it. In 1963, Stanford University became the epicenter of a discovery that could have forever changed our understanding of death. Dr. James Peterson and his team were on the verge of uncovering something extraordinary: brain activity that continued minutes after clinical death. These weren't just random signals. They were organized and suggested conscious thought lingered beyond death. But before they could share their groundbreaking findings, everything was wiped out. On October 12, 1963, at 3:47 a.m., federal agents raided the lab, confiscating research, equipment, and personal belongings. The entire team was dispersed, and Dr. Peterson vanished without a trace, erased from all records. However, one piece of evidence survived. Maria Chen, a research assistant, took a single page home, a graph showing those mysterious brain patterns and 7 chilling words scribbled by Dr. Peterson. This document held the key to a truth powerful enough to trigger the largest scientific cover-up in history. For over 50 years, this evidence has been hidden from the public. Today, similar research is still being conducted in secret labs around the world, confirming that what Dr. Peterson discovered wasn't an anomaly, but a fundamental truth about our existence. Yet the same shadowy forces that shut down Stanford's project are still suppressing these revelations, keeping the world in the dark about what truly happens after we die. This isn't about religion or fringe science. It's about a reality so profound it threatens to dismantle our beliefs about life and death. Powerful institutions have gone to great lengths to keep this information buried, fearing the chaos it could unleash on societal structures and doctrines. As you uncover this hidden history, you'll see how the truth about death has been meticulously concealed. If consciousness indeed persists beyond death in an organized form, it challenges everything we know about the soul, the afterlife, and reality itself. Governments continue secret experiments, driven by the same motives that buried Stanford's work, ensuring that the secrets of death remain accessible only to a select few. Throughout history, many groups tried to hide information about what happens after death. Ancient Egyptian priests kept their death teachings secret, sharing them only with other priests and pharaohs in hidden temple rooms. They wrote these secrets in special books, using codes that regular people couldn't read. The same pattern shows up in Tibet. where monks passed down their death knowledge through private teaching. They spoke these lessons directly to students and wrote them in texts that stayed locked away in remote temples. Only after thousands of years did some of these teachings become public. In medieval Europe, the Catholic Church controlled what people could know about death. They banned books and punished anyone who taught different ideas about the afterlife. Many people who had their own experiences or beliefs about death had to stay quiet or risk being called heretics. Native American tribes had deep knowledge about death transitions, but European settlers forced them to stop their practices and teaching. Much of this wisdom was lost as older generations passed away without being able to train the next ones. The pattern keeps going today. Modern medicine often dismisses near-death experiences as hallucinations, even though millions of people report similar events. Scientists who study consciousness after death sometimes lose funding or face criticism from colleagues. But why hide this information? Control plays a big part. Groups in power often use fear of death to influence people's behavior. If you're scared of death, you might follow rules without questioning them. You might give money to religious organizations promising salvation. You might work harder at jobs you don't like because you're afraid to take risks. There's also money involved. The funeral industry makes billions by promoting certain beliefs about death. Healthcare systems profit from extending life at all costs, even when it might not be what people really want. Religious organizations collect donations by claiming exclusive knowledge about the afterlife. Some suppression comes from good intentions. People worry that talking about death will upset others or cause fear. Parents often avoid the topic with children. Doctors hesitate to discuss it with patients. But this silence creates more fear than understanding would. The truth about death appears in many places if you look carefully. Ancient cave paintings show death transitions. Folk stories pass down wisdom about the afterlife. People who've had near-death experiences tell similar stories across cultures and times. Even modern physics hints at consciousness continuing after the body stops. Breaking through this suppression takes work. You need to look at many sources and notice the patterns. You need to question what you've been taught and be open to new information. Most importantly, you need to think for yourself instead of accepting what authorities tell you. The good news is that more people are speaking up. Doctors write books about patients' death experiences. Scientists study consciousness in new ways. Regular people share their stories online. The wall of silence is starting to crack. This matters because knowing more about death changes how we live. When you understand that consciousness continues, you make different choices. You focus more on growth and less on gathering things. You treat others better because you see the bigger picture. The next parts of this series will share specific information that was hidden. We'll look at what different cultures discovered about death and what modern research tells us. We'll explore practical ways to prepare for death that most people never learn about. That's why learning this information matters now. We face big challenges that need new solutions. We need people who can think clearly and act freely. Understanding death removes the biggest fear holding people back. The next section will start with the first major discovery, the clear light that appears at death. This matches reports from many cultures and times, and it's something modern research backs up. But before we get there, take a moment to think about what you've been taught about death and who taught it to you. The clear light appears in the first moments after death. This bright white light shows up right as the physical body stops working. Many people who had near-death experiences talk about seeing this intense light. Think of this light as a direct path to complete freedom. But most people miss this chance because they don't know what it is or get scared by how bright and strange it feels. The light isn't harmful. It's actually the natural state of mind without any filters or blocks. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes this light as being brighter than 1,000 suns. But it doesn't hurt to look at it. It's pure awareness itself. If someone can stay calm and merge with this light, instead of pulling away from it, they can skip all the other after-death stages and reach full awakening right then. But staying with this light is really hard. Most people automatically react with fear or confusion when they see something this different from normal life. The mind tries to make sense of it using old patterns and ideas, which actually blocks the experience. It's like trying to grab water. The tighter you hold on, the more it slips away. The key is to just relax and let the experience happen without trying to control it or figure it out. Don't label it as good or bad. Don't try to hold on to it, and don't try to push it away. Just let it be exactly as it is. This matches what modern research tells us about near-death experiences. Many people report moving through a tunnel toward an incredibly bright light. They often feel complete peace and acceptance while in the light. Some say they meet deceased relatives or spiritual figures there, but almost everyone says normal words can't really describe it properly. The ancient Egyptians wrote about this light in their Book of the Dead too. They called it the light of Osiris and said it appeared right after death. Other cultures around the world have similar stories about a bright light that shows up when someone dies. This first gate is actually the easiest way through, but it's also the one most people miss because they're not ready for it. The light shows up so fast after death that there's usually no time to adjust or prepare. Without prior knowledge about what's happening, the automatic reaction is to pull back from something so different and intense. That's why the traditional texts spend so much time explaining what to expect and how to respond. They say to neither grab at the light nor run from it. Just rest in simple awareness and let it do its work. The light itself is doing the heavy lifting. Our job is to not get in its way. The experience can feel like being everywhere and nowhere at once. All normal reference points disappear. There's no up or down, no inside or outside, no self and others. It's just pure, clear awareness, without any divisions or boundaries. This matches what quantum physics tells us about the basic nature of reality, that at the deepest level, everything is interconnected energy and information with no solid, separate things. The clear light experience seems to be direct contact with this fundamental level of reality. But our normal minds aren't used to functioning without all their usual labels and categories. We automatically try to make sense of things by comparing them to what we already know. This actually blocks us from experiencing something totally new and different. That's why all the traditional guides emphasize letting go of trying to understand or control the experience. The key is to relax completely and trust the process. Let the light do what it does naturally without interference from our normal thinking mind. If someone can stay with the clear light without pulling away, they move beyond all the usual limitations of body and mind. There's no more birth and death, no more suffering, no more separation. But this takes incredible stability of attention and complete letting go of our usual ways of experiencing things. For most people, the light fades as their habitual patterns of mind kick back in. Then they move on to the next stages of the after-death process. But even a brief glimpse of the clear light can change someone's whole understanding of what they really are. The point isn't to achieve some special state. It's to recognize our natural state that's always been there under all our usual mental activity. The clear light shows us what we really are when all the extras are stripped away. This first gate is both the simplest and the hardest. Simple because we don't need to do anything. Just let things be as they are. Hard because everything in our normal way of functioning tries to complicate it by adding extra layers of thinking and reacting. The traditional texts say this same clear light is actually present in deep sleep and at the moment between thoughts, but we usually miss it because we're not trained to recognize it. Death temporarily strips away our usual mental patterns, so the light becomes obvious. But without preparation, we tend to react with confusion instead of recognition. After passing through the clear light. Souls face their next challenge at the second gate. This stage brings each soul face to face with their actions, thoughts, and choices from their life. Think of it as a complete review of everything you did, but seen through new eyes. During these trials, you see your life played back in perfect detail. Every kind word you spoke, every time you helped someone in need, but also every harsh word, and every time you turned away from someone who needed you. The interesting part is that you don't just see what you did, you feel the effects your actions had on others. When you yelled at someone in anger, you'll feel their hurt. When you gave food to someone hungry, you'll feel their relief and gratitude. If you ignored someone who was lonely, you'll experience their isolation. This isn't about punishment, it's about learning and growth. Many souls report being surprised by which actions turn out to be most significant. Often, it's not the big dramatic moments that matter most. Instead, it's the small daily choices. Choosing to smile at a stranger, taking time to listen to someone who's struggling, or showing patience when it would be easier to be angry. The trials show us that everything we do creates ripples that affect others in ways we might never have noticed while alive. A simple act of kindness might have changed someone's entire day, leading them to be kinder to others in turn. Similarly, a thoughtless word might have started a chain of negative events we never knew about. Some souls find this experience challenging, especially when facing moments they regret. But the purpose isn't to make anyone feel guilty. It's about understanding the true impact we have on the world around us. This knowledge helps souls grow and make better choices in future lives. During these trials, souls often notice patterns in their behavior they never recognized while alive. Someone might see how they repeatedly pushed away people who tried to get close, or how they always found excuses not to pursue their dreams. These patterns become clear lessons about what they need to work on in their next life. The trials also reveal the hidden benefits of difficult experiences we had while alive. That job loss that seemed terrible at the time might have led to meeting someone who changed our life. The relationship that ended painfully might have taught us crucial lessons about love and forgiveness. Many souls report feeling overwhelmed by the amount of information they received during this stage. It's like watching thousands of movies at once, except you're not just watching, you're feeling everything that happened. But each soul is given exactly what they can handle, no more and no less. This process helps souls understand that there's no such thing as an insignificant life. Every person affects countless others through their choices and actions. Even those who lived short lives or thought they didn't accomplish much often, discover they had a profound impact on others. The trials also show souls how their lives connected with others in ways they never noticed. That person you passed on the street and smiled at might have been considering giving up that day, and your smile gave them hope. The time you stood up to a bully might have inspired someone else to be braver in their own life. As souls complete their trials, they gain a deep appreciation for the interconnected nature of all lives. They see how every action creates effects that spread far beyond what we can see in the moment. This understanding becomes part of who they are, influencing their choices in future lives. Some souls take longer than others to complete their trials. There's no rush. Each soul moves through this gate at exactly the pace they need. Some might spend what feels like years reviewing certain experiences, while others might move through more quickly. The process takes exactly as long as it needs to for each individual soul. By the time souls finish their trials, they've gained valuable insights about themselves and their place in the bigger picture of existence. They understand better what they need to learn and how they can grow. This prepares them for what comes next at the third gate, where they'll meet the Watchers. The third gate brings us to meet the Watchers, beings who track and record every action, thought, and choice we make during our lives. These beings aren't judges or punishers. They're more like cosmic record keepers who maintain perfect accounts of our existence. Think of them as silent observers who see everything but never step in. They track the big moments and the small ones too, from major life decisions down to tiny acts of kindness that no one else noticed. Every smile you gave to a stranger, every time you helped someone without taking credit, and yes, even those moments you'd rather forget, they see and record it all. But what makes this interesting is that these records aren't just lists of what we did. They show the ripple effects of our actions, how one small choice led to another and another, creating chains of events that spread out through time. That sandwich you bought for someone who was hungry? The watchers saw how it gave them hope, which made them help someone else later that day, starting a chain of good deeds. These beings don't use computers or notebooks. Their recording system exists outside our normal understanding of time and space. They can track billions of lives simultaneously, seeing all the connections between people and events that we can't possibly notice from our limited view. The watchers show us something amazing, that no action is truly isolated. Everything we do affects the world around us in ways we can't see. That argument you avoided by staying calm, it prevented a chain of negative events. The encouraging words you spoke to someone, they might have changed the course of their life. But here's what's really fascinating. The watchers don't just record what happened. They can see what could have happened too. All the paths not taken, the choices we almost made, the lives we might have lived if we turned left instead of right at key moments. It's like they can see an infinite web of possibilities spreading out from every decision point. This brings us to why the third gate matters so much. When we pass through it, we get to see these records. We see our lives played back, but not just as we remember them. We see them as they truly were, with all their connections and consequences laid bare. We see how we affected others, how our choices rippled out into the world. Some people worry about this part of the afterlife experience. They think about all their mistakes and bad choices. But that's not what the watchers care about. They're not keeping score to punish us. Their records show us the truth about our lives, both the good and the bad, so we can learn from it. The records show us that we often did better than we thought. Many of us beat ourselves up about past mistakes, but the watchers' records show all the good we did too, especially the good we did without realizing it. That time you smiled at someone. In their records, you might see how that simple act stopped them from giving up that day. The third gate teaches us that we're all connected in ways we can't see while we're alive. Every action, every choice, every word spoken or held back, it all matters. It all affects the great web of human experience in ways we can't track, but the watchers can. This knowledge changes how we think about life. If everything we do matters and affects others, then we need to be more mindful of our choices. Not out of fear of being watched, but because we understand that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves. The watchers and their records show us that there's no such thing as an unimportant life or a meaningless action. Every person, every choice, every moment counts. We're all writing our stories into their records every day, adding to the vast tapestry of human experience. As we pass through the third gate and face these records, we learn our final lesson about death, that our lives matter more than we knew, that we affected more people than we realized, and that even our smallest choices had meaning. This understanding helps us move forward, ready to face whatever comes next with new wisdom about who we were and what we did with our time on Earth. But just when you think you've grasped the full scope of this journey, there's a revelation that takes everything to another level. Imagine unlocking a hidden door that leads to the ultimate truth about existence itself. Now, as promised, it's time to unveil the 7 words that Dr. James Peterson desperately scribbled on that mysterious page in 1963. These words aren't just a message, They're the keys to unlocking the greatest secret of our existence. Hidden for decades, suppressed by powerful forces, and now finally revealed to you. Ascend, reincarnate, embrace, transcend, liberate, eternal consciousness. Imagine holding the blueprint to what happens after death. Ascend is your gateway to rising above the physical realm, breaking free from earthly ties, and reaching a higher state of being. It's not just a movement, it's a transformation that connects you to a universal consciousness beyond anything we've ever imagined. Reincarnate introduces the cycle of rebirth, giving your soul endless chances to learn, grow, and evolve through countless lifetimes. Each new life is a chapter in your soul's journey, offering fresh opportunities to experience and understand the universe in deeper ways. When you embrace this transition, you accept the shift from life to whatever comes next without fear. It's about welcoming the unknown with open arms, trusting that this change is a natural part of existence, and allowing your soul to move forward unburdened by fear or resistance. To transcend means to go beyond the ordinary limits of existence. It's about surpassing the physical and mental boundaries that confine us, reaching a state of pure consciousness where your soul exists in its most authentic and unbounded form. This is true freedom, breaking the chains of reincarnation and rising to a state of eternal awareness. Liberate is the release from all attachments and burdens accumulated during your life. It's about freeing yourself from past traumas, regrets, and fears, allowing your soul to exist in complete peace and autonomy. Liberation is the ultimate goal, where you shed everything that holds you back and achieve true freedom. The word eternal emphasizes the timeless nature of your soul. It highlights that consciousness isn't bound by time or space. It exists perpetually, continuing its journey beyond the physical demise of the body. This eternity means your soul's journey is endless, constantly evolving and experiencing new dimensions of existence. Finally, consciousness ties it all together. It asserts that consciousness is the fundamental essence that persists after death. It's the driving force behind all existence, growth, and the intricate interconnectedness of every being. Understanding consciousness as eternal and unbounded changes everything we know about life and death, positioning it as the core of our true nature. These 7 words form a powerful blueprint for the afterlife, offering profound insights into what happens when we die and how we can influence our journey beyond the physical world. They reveal a system where your soul has the power to choose its destiny, whether to ascend, reincarnate, or embrace eternal consciousness. This knowledge was never meant for the masses because it challenges the established power structures that thrive on fear and ignorance about death. But why were these words suppressed? Because they empower you to take control of your destiny beyond death. Religious institutions, secret societies, and even scientific bodies recognized the transformative power of this knowledge. By keeping it hidden, they maintained control over people's beliefs and behaviors, ensuring that fear of the unknown kept everyone in line. Revealing these 7 words disrupts the narrative that death is the final end. Instead, it presents death as a transition, a doorway to continued existence and growth. This revelation empowers you to confront your fears, understand your true nature, and make conscious choices that affect not only your current life, but your eternal journey as well. Now, imagine the freedom that comes with this knowledge. By meditating on these words, embracing their meanings, and integrating their principles into your daily life, you align yourself with the natural flow of existence. This alignment prepares you for the inevitable transition of death and enriches your life now, fostering a deeper sense of purpose, connection, and peace. The revelation of these 7 words marks the end of secrecy and the beginning of a new understanding of life and death. It's your invitation to reclaim control over your destiny, transcend the limitations imposed upon you, and embrace the eternal consciousness that defines your true existence. Share this knowledge Spread the truth and join others who are ready to transform their lives and beyond. The power is now in your hands. Will you take it? But the journey doesn't stop here. As you grasp the profound implications of these 7 words, a new layer of understanding unfolds, bridging ancient wisdom with modern science. Recent scientific studies have brought new light to ancient beliefs about life after death. Research from major medical institutions has documented thousands of near-death experiences, with striking similarities across cultures and backgrounds. These accounts often include elements like moving through darkness, seeing bright lights, and meeting deceased relatives. Brain research shows interesting patterns during these experiences. When the heart stops, brain activity doesn't immediately end. Scientists have recorded surges of electrical activity in the moments after clinical death. This matches many reports of heightened awareness during near-death experiences. Studies of consciousness are revealing more questions than answers. Quantum physics suggests consciousness might not be limited to our brains. Some researchers propose that consciousness could be like a TV signal. The brain receives it, but doesn't create it. This fits with reports of out-of-body experiences where people accurately describe events they couldn't have seen from their physical location. Medical documentation of death is changing too. New technology shows that death isn't a single moment, but a process. Cells can stay alive for days after the heart stops. Some genes even become more active. This raises questions about what we think we know about the end of life. Research into past life memories, especially in children, has produced interesting results. Dr. Ian Stevenson studied over 3,000 cases of children who remembered specific details about previous lives. Many details were confirmed through records and family accounts. These studies used strict scientific methods to rule out other explanations. Brain scans of people in deep meditation show patterns similar to near-death experiences. Both states show reduced activity in areas linked to our sense of self, while other areas become more active. This suggests these experiences might use existing brain pathways, rather than being purely imagination. The study of death is becoming more scientific. Hospitals are using special rooms to measure what happens when people die. They place objects in places only visible from above to test out-of-body experiences. Some patients later accurately describe these hidden objects. Terminal lucidity presents another mystery. Sometimes, people with severe brain damage become completely clear just before death. They can speak, remember, and recognize people again. Current medical knowledge can't explain how this happens with damaged brain tissue. Scientists are also studying shared death experiences. These happen when healthy people near a dying person report similar experiences to near-death experiences. They describe leaving their bodies and traveling with the dying person. Multiple witnesses often report seeing the same things. New research tools are helping us study consciousness better. We can now measure tiny changes in the brain and body that we couldn't see before. This is showing us that consciousness might be more complex than we thought. DNA research adds another layer. Studies show trauma can affect future generations through genetic changes. This raises questions about how experiences might be passed down, connecting to ideas about past lives and genetic memory. The placebo effect shows how beliefs affect physical reality. People can get better just by believing they will. This suggests consciousness has more influence on our physical world than we used to think. Time perception studies reveal interesting patterns. People often report time moving differently during near-death experiences. Physics shows time isn't as fixed as we once believed, matching these reports. Studies of identical twins show unexplained connections. Twins separated at birth often have similar lives, choices, and experiences. This suggests links between people that we don't yet understand. Scientists are now more open to studying these topics. Major universities have research programs looking at consciousness, death, and unusual experiences. They're using strict scientific methods to study things once considered impossible to research. New technology keeps revealing more mysteries. We can now measure things we couldn't before, and each discovery brings new questions. What we're learning often supports ancient ideas about consciousness and survival after death. These findings don't prove life after death, but they show there's more to learn. Science is starting to catch up with what ancient traditions have said. The gap between scientific and spiritual understanding might be getting smaller. The research continues to grow. More scientists are studying these experiences without dismissing them. They're finding physical evidence that matches what people report. This careful research helps us understand these experiences better. The research and evidence we've examined points to clear ways we can use this information in our daily lives. Let's look at how to put these findings into practice. Start by setting aside 10 minutes each morning for quiet reflection. This isn't meditation in the traditional sense. Just sit comfortably and notice your thoughts without trying to change them. Many people report that this simple practice helps them feel more connected to both their physical and non-physical aspects. Next, pay attention to your dreams. Keep a notebook by your bed and write down what you remember right after waking up. Dreams often contain messages from our deeper consciousness and can provide insights about our connection to the bigger picture. Don't worry about interpreting them. Just record what you recall. Throughout your day, notice the small coincidences and patterns that catch your attention. Did you think of someone right before they called? Did a particular number or symbol keep showing up? These aren't random events. They're signs of the underlying connections between all things. Make time to be in nature regularly. Research shows that people who spend time outdoors report more spiritual experiences and a greater sense of connection to something larger than themselves. This doesn't require anything special. A walk in a park or sitting under a tree works perfectly well. Practice being present with others. Really listen when people speak, instead of just waiting for your turn to talk. Notice how you can sense things about them beyond their words. This builds your ability to perceive the subtle connections between all of us. Let go of the need to control everything. The evidence suggests we're part of something much bigger than our individual selves. When you stop trying to force outcomes and instead stay open to possibilities, life often unfolds in unexpected but meaningful ways. Start keeping track of your experiences. Write down moments when you felt deeply connected, or when something happened that can't be explained by ordinary means. Look for patterns in these experiences. What conditions seem to make them more likely to occur? Pay attention to your physical sensations. Your body often knows things before your conscious mind does. Did you ever get a gut feeling about a situation that turned out to be correct? That's your deeper awareness communicating through physical signals. Create quiet spaces in your day. Turn off your phone sometimes. Step away from screens. These pauses allow you to notice the subtle aspects of reality that we usually miss in our busy lives. Make time for activities that bring you joy and peace. This isn't just about feeling good. It's about creating conditions where you can better perceive and connect with the larger reality we're part of. Practice gratitude daily. Notice what you're thankful for, both big and small. This shifts your attention from what's wrong to what's right, making it easier to see the positive patterns in your life. Be kind to yourself and others. The research suggests we're all connected in ways we don't fully grasp yet. When you treat others with compassion, you're creating positive ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. Start small with these practices. Pick one or two that appeal to you and try them for a few weeks. Notice what changes in your life. Add more practices gradually as you feel ready. Don't expect instant results. Like any skill, developing your awareness takes time and practice. Some days you'll feel more connected than others. That's normal and natural. Share your experiences with others who are open to these ideas. Learning from each other's experiences helps us grow faster than trying to figure everything out alone. Stay grounded in your daily life while exploring these practices. Continue taking care of your responsibilities and relationships. This work isn't about escaping reality. It's about experiencing it more fully. Keep learning and staying curious. New research is constantly adding to our knowledge of life, death, and what lies beyond. Being open to new information helps us grow in our understanding. Remember that everyone's experience is unique. What works well for someone else might not work as well for you. Trust your instincts about which practices feel right for your path. These practical steps can help you bridge the gap between knowing about these truths and experiencing them directly in your life. With consistent practice, you'll likely start noticing positive changes in how you perceive and interact with the world around you. Death isn't the end. It's a transition. Many people fear death because they see it as final. But research into near-death experiences and consciousness studies points to something more. The evidence suggests our consciousness continues after physical death. Think about what this means. You're not just your body. You're not limited to this physical form. Your true nature goes beyond flesh and bones. This knowledge can free you from the grip of fear that holds so many people back. People who've had near-death experiences often report feeling completely at peace. They describe moving through a tunnel of light, meeting deceased loved ones, and experiencing a profound sense of love and acceptance. These accounts come from people across cultures, ages, and beliefs. The similarities in their stories tell us something significant about what happens when we die. But you don't need to wait for death to break free from fear. Right now, you can start living differently. Knowing that your consciousness continues can change how you see everything. Small problems that used to bother you might not seem so important anymore. The pressure to accumulate wealth and status might lose its grip. Studies show that people who accept death as a transition rather than an end tend to live more fulfilling lives. They take more meaningful risks. They focus on relationships and personal growth instead of material success. They find purpose in helping others, rather than just helping themselves. Breaking free means letting go of old beliefs that limit you. Maybe you were taught that death is scary, or that this life is all there is. Maybe you learned to measure your worth by your achievements or possessions. These beliefs can trap you in patterns of fear and anxiety. Look at the evidence yourself. Read accounts of near-death experiences. Learn about consciousness research. Talk to people who work with the dying. The more you learn, the clearer it becomes. Death is not what most people think it is. Some scientists now believe consciousness might be fundamental to the universe, not just a product of our brains. This matches what many spiritual traditions have taught for thousands of years. We're part of something bigger than our physical bodies. Breaking free also means facing your fears. What really scares you about death? Is it the unknown, the loss of control, the separation from loved ones? Understanding your fears is the first step to moving past them. The fear of death affects how we live. It can make us hesitate to take chances. It can make us cling to unhealthy relationships or situations. It can keep us from speaking our truth or following our dreams. But when you understand that death is a doorway, not a wall, everything changes. Think about how you'd live if you truly knew you were eternal. Would you waste time on petty arguments? Would you stay in a job you hate? Would you put off telling people you love them? Breaking free from death anxiety means living more authentically now. This understanding can transform your relationships too. When you're not afraid of loss, you can love more openly. When you know connections continue beyond death, you can invest more deeply in relationships that matter. The research into life after death keeps growing. Scientists study consciousness outside the body. They document deathbed visions and shared death experiences. They track patterns in reincarnation cases. The evidence points to survival of consciousness after physical death. But this knowledge isn't just about what happens after we die. It's about living better now. It's about breaking free from limitations we put on ourselves. It's about recognizing our true nature as conscious beings having a physical experience. You can start small. Notice when fear holds you back. Question beliefs that limit you. Practice seeing beyond the physical. Connect with others who share this understanding. Each step makes you freer. Remember those near-death experiences who came back changed. They stopped fearing death. They lived with more purpose. They loved more deeply. They focused on what truly matters. You can make those changes without having to die first. Breaking free means living from a bigger perspective. You're not just a body with consciousness. You're consciousness with a body. This physical life is important, but it's not all you are. Knowing this can transform how you live each day. The choice is yours. You can stay bound by fear, or you can break free. You can accept the growing evidence about consciousness and death, or hold on to limiting beliefs. You can live from a place of fear or a place of freedom. Take what resonates with you. Test it against your experience. See how it changes your life. Breaking free from death anxiety might be the most liberating thing you ever do. The choices we make today shape our future in ways we might not expect. Think about how a small decision, like helping someone carry their groceries, can start a chain of positive events. That person might feel inspired to help others, creating a ripple of kindness that touches many lives. Our daily actions build the foundation of who we become. Each time we choose courage over fear, truth over lies, or love over hate, we strengthen our character. These decisions don't just affect us. They influence everyone around us. Consider how treating yourself with respect changes how others see you. When you value your time, health, and peace of mind, people notice. They start to mirror your behavior, leading to better relationships and opportunities. Making positive changes isn't always easy. Sometimes it means leaving comfort zones, ending toxic relationships, or admitting mistakes. But these hard choices often bring the biggest rewards. They free us to grow, learn, and become better versions of ourselves. Small steps matter too. Reading a book instead of scrolling social media, taking a walk instead of watching TV, or calling a friend instead of sending a text. These choices add up. They create habits that transform our lives over time. The way we handle money shows what we value. Spending on experiences rather than things often brings more happiness. Investing in learning new skills can open doors we never knew existed. Supporting causes we believe in connects us to something bigger than ourselves. Our health choices today affect our future quality of life. Eating well, exercising, and getting enough sleep might not show immediate results, but they compound over time. These habits give us energy to pursue our goals and stay active as we age. The relationships we nurture shape our support system. Being there for others creates bonds that last. Simple acts like listening without judgment, showing up when needed, or offering honest feedback build trust and deepen connections. Work isn't just about earning money. It's about contributing value. Doing our best, even in small tasks, builds a reputation for excellence. This opens doors to better opportunities and allows us to make a bigger impact. Our attitude toward challenges determines our success. Seeing problems as chances to learn helps us grow stronger. Each obstacle we overcome teaches us something valuable about ourselves and life. Time management reflects our priorities. Using time wisely on important goals, instead of urgent but unimportant tasks, leads to better results. This might mean saying no to things that don't align with our values. The information we consume shapes our thoughts and beliefs. Reading helpful books, listening to positive people, and seeking truth over drama improves our mindset. This better mindset leads to better decisions. Being honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses helps us grow. Accepting feedback, admitting mistakes, and working to improve shows real strength. This self-awareness helps us make better choices. Our impact on others lasts longer than we think. Teaching someone a skill, sharing knowledge, or offering encouragement can change their path in life. These actions create lasting positive effects that continue long after we're gone. The environment we create around us affects our mood and productivity. Keeping our space clean, organized, and peaceful helps us think clearly and feel better. This clarity leads to better decisions and results. Learning from mistakes instead of hiding from them makes us stronger. Each error teaches us something valuable if we're willing to learn. This wisdom helps us make better choices in the future. Taking responsibility for our lives instead of blaming others gives us power to change things. We can't control everything that happens, but we can control how we respond. This response determines our results. Being kind to ourselves during tough times helps us stay resilient. Everyone faces setbacks. It's how we handle them that matters. Treating ourselves with compassion helps us bounce back stronger. The stories we tell ourselves about our lives shape our reality. Choosing to focus on possibilities instead of limitations opens new paths. This positive outlook helps us see and take advantage of opportunities. Every day brings new chances to make better choices. Starting now, we can choose actions that lead to the life we want. These choices, big and small, create the future we'll live in tomorrow. The facts we've explored about life, death, and what might come after change everything about how we can live today. Right now, you have a chance to use this knowledge to make real changes in your life. Take a moment to think about what you learned. The research points to consciousness continuing after death. This isn't just interesting information. It can transform how you make decisions and treat others, starting today. If we don't truly end when our bodies die, we need to focus on more than just physical success and comfort. Your actions and their effects on others matter more than temporary gains. The choices you make build something lasting. You can start making better choices right now. Be kinder to others, knowing that connections between people might continue beyond death. Focus less on gathering things and more on growing as a person. Use your time to help others and create positive change. Stop putting off what matters most. If you've been meaning to heal a relationship, do it now. If you want to learn something new, start today. If you've thought about volunteering or supporting a good cause, take action. The time we have in our current form is limited, but what we do with it shapes something bigger. Look at your daily habits and choices. Do they match what you now know about life continuing past death? Maybe you spend too much time on things that don't really matter. Maybe you ignore opportunities to help others or make a difference. You can change that starting today. Think about your work and goals differently. Instead of just trying to get ahead or make money, ask how you can use your skills to benefit others. Look for ways to leave things better than you found them. Small, positive actions add up over time. Share what you've learned with others, but do it gently. Not everyone is ready to think about these big questions. Show through your actions how understanding life differently leads to living differently. Be patient with those who see things differently. Make time regularly to think about what matters most. Don't get caught up in daily stress and forget the bigger picture. Keep learning about consciousness and what happens after death. but focus on using what you know to live better now. Start with small changes that you can maintain. Pick one thing to do differently today. Maybe spend 10 minutes helping someone else. Maybe take time to really listen to a family member or friend. Maybe begin learning something you've always wanted to know. Don't wait for the perfect moment or until you have everything figured out. You know enough now to start making better choices. Each positive action creates ripples that continue beyond what we can see. Take care of your physical health, but remember it's not everything. Your body is important but temporary. Focus more on developing qualities that last: wisdom, compassion, understanding. These stay with your consciousness. Look for ways to reduce harm to others and the world around you. If consciousness continues, then causing damage has bigger effects than we usually think. Choose actions that help rather than hurt. Be honest with yourself about your motivations and choices. Are you living in line with what you believe about life and death? If not, what needs to change? Make adjustments one step at a time. You don't need to completely transform overnight. Start where you are with what you have. Do one thing better today than yesterday. Keep building on that foundation. The research we've discussed gives hope, but also responsibility. Knowing that consciousness likely continues means our choices matter more, not less. Use this knowledge to live more thoughtfully and purposefully. Take action now. Don't let this be just interesting information that doesn't change anything. You have the chance to live differently based on a better understanding of life and death. Start today with one positive change. The time to act is now. You don't know how long you have in your current form. Use your time wisely to create positive effects that continue beyond physical life. Begin making better choices today, knowing they shape something larger than just this moment. I absolutely love bringing these incredible mysteries to light, and I hope you found this revelation as mind-blowing as I did. If you did, smash that like button, drop the word blueprint in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel for more groundbreaking content. Don't forget to join our exclusive newsletter for even deeper insights and updates on upcoming revelations. Your support helps us uncover and share the truth behind life's greatest secrets. Share this video with friends and family who are ready to explore the unknown. Together, we can transform our understanding of existence and beyond. The journey has just begun. Are you ready to take the next step?